Hi, these comments are for MM, and I am Michael from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com. You're one of my TOEFL speaking bootcamp course students, and you've been having some really good English days over the last few days. Let's see. You've been scoring between 26 and 30 points on your speaking practice test over the last few days. Let's see if you can keep it up. Let's listen to the response. So the practice test that you're answering is, do you prefer to travel with a tour group or do you prefer to travel alone, and give examples and reasons to support your point of view. Okay, here we go.
I prefer to travel alone than to join a tour group based on two reasons.
And I would probably say rather than. I'd prefer to travel alone rather than. No, let's leave it. Or let me listen to it one more time. I got to check your language use. I apologize.
I prefer to travel alone than to join a tour group based on two reasons.
Than to tour. So you're using infinitives on both sides of it. Then I'm thinking rather than, then. I'm going to say it's okay. Don't worry about it.
My first reason is that I want to plan my own schedule based on my interests. For example, when I traveled to France, I wanted to visit both Orsay Museum and Louvre Museum.
No, wait a minute. I got to check your language use here. Hold on. Got to check your verb tense.
For example, when I traveled to France, I wanted to visit both Orsay Museum and Louvre Museum for more than 2 days each. Although I looked into a tour group, I couldn't find anything that matched my interest.
I would probably say, although I had joined. Let me listen.
A Louvre Museum for more than 2 days each. Although I looked into a tour group, I
would say, although I had joined a tour group, I
couldn't find anything that matched my interest. My second reason is that I get sick.
No, you're okay. Keep the verb tense. You're not talking about one past action before another, so your verb tense is good.
Easily when I travel. For instance, when I traveled to Switzerland, I was sick for more than 2 days. As a result, I needed to cancel my plan and stay in the hotel for that period of time.
Okay, so the main thing is, I think you're speaking pretty quickly, fluently. I think you had good control of your language use, including both your grammar and your vocabulary. With the delivery, I think you can just work on the tone a little bit more. I think that's the main thing. I'm looking at the rubrics right now between 3 and 4. I'm thinking right now you're closer to 4 than you are 3, maybe 3.5. I'm going to put you maybe around 25, 26 points in this. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's a very solid response. All right, let's listen to this one more time.
I prefer to travel alone than to join a tour group based on two reasons.
Okay. Now, the only problem there, you seem to use a similar structure each time for the introduction, right? You don't always have to do that. And probably a lot of other people are beginning their speaking tasks exactly the same way, right? So why don't you check out, go to my website, Better TOEFL Scores. I want you to check out, there's an article called TOEFL Thesis Statements. I want you to check that out. And that'll give you some different ideas on how you can frame the beginning of your speaking and writing responses for the TOEFL IBT writing and speaking tasks.
My first reason is that I want to plan my own schedule based on my interests. For example, when I traveled to France, I wanted to visit both Orsay Museum and Louvre Museum for more than 2 days each. Although I looked into a tour group, I couldn't find anything that matched my interest.
Okay.
My second reason is that I get sick easily when I travel. For instance, when I traveled to Switzerland, I was sick for more than 2 days. As a result, I needed to cancel my plan and stay in the hotel for that period of time.
And then say, had I been in a group, a tour group, it would have been much harder for me to do this because you would have to notify everybody. So you have more flexibility. It's more convenient for you to travel alone than with a study group, right? I'm going to say you're 3.5 to 4. I'm going to put you at maybe 26 to 28 points out of 30. I think it's very strong response. There's no major problems with your language use. You have a very strong delivery. The only thing I'd recommend is work on the tone a little bit. Try to work on varying that intonation. And one of the ways you can do that is at the end of each thought group, you might say, well, I prefer to travel with a group, or I prefer to travel with a group because they can help me make my decisions about what I need to do. And then when you get to the end of the sentence, your tone falls. So you have to identify those thought groups. You do a very good job on your pacing, right? But at the end of each thought group, if it's not the end of the sentence, maybe slightly increase your intonation just a little bit. I think that would help you with your intonation, just something to look at. But this is good. Now, YouTubers, if you see what I posted yesterday, I posted her example of her speaking response, which I believe was around 4. I'm putting this one at around 26 to 28 points out of 30. So many people, you guys are emailing me saying, well, what do I need to do, Michael, in order to score 26 or higher? Well, this is exactly what you need to do. Do what she just did. You have a short introduction which organizes your response. Then you mention point number 1 or reason number 1, and you give a specific example to support that. You don't talk about things in general sense. Then you bring your second reason, you give another specific example to support that point, and then that's it. So this is what you do. Follow how she's organizing and developing her responses, but don't copy exactly how she's organizing it, because then it becomes a template, and then it will be recognized by the IBT human raters during the TOEFL exam, and then your score is going to be bad. It's not going to be good, so be careful. So be careful about copying templates and using other people's structures for your own responses. You don't want to do that. You develop a way of organizing your responses that show both simple and both advanced grammar, and is something you're comfortable doing, and it makes it very easy for your listeners to see the organization of your ideas. All right, MM, good job on that. Keep up the great work. I look forward to hearing from you again. And this next speaking response, I want you to try to do something different with your tone, even if it's terrible. I want you to try to change something with your intonation. Okay?